In the late hours of June 4th, 2024, a 33-year-old pregnant woman was found dead with multiple gunshot wounds in her apartment. Bolivia Monique had been looking forward to welcoming her sixth child. She had just celebrated her gender reveal party, and moments later, she was found, murdered. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered a tragic truth. The person responsible wasn't a stranger, but the very one who should have protected her at all costs, the father of her unborn child. This is the tragic case of Bolivia Monique Williams. "33-year-old Bolivia Monique Williams was born on March 10, 1991, in Columbus County, North Carolina, and later made her home in Regalwood. She was the daughter of Peggy Blanks and Michael Williams. Those who knew Bolivia remember her as a vibrant and joyful soul, someone who radiated love and positivity wherever she went. She had a deep passion for dancing and a natural ability to uplift those around her. Her energy was contagious, and her presence left a lasting impact.
Yes. Woo, yes, child. You guys.
Bolivia also loved social media, often sharing snapshots of her life through photos and videos. Her online presence reflected her bright spirit and her love for connecting with others. Bolivia attended Southeastern Community College, where she left a lasting impression on both classmates and professors with her vibrant energy and strong work ethic. That same lively spirit followed her into adulthood, where she pursued her passion for business and became an entrepreneur. To those who knew her, Bolivia's sense of style was always on point, turning heads wherever she went. But beyond the fun and fashion, Bolivia was deeply compassionate and generous. She treated everyone with kindness and respect, giving love freely and sincerely. So it was no surprise when she caught the attention of a man who would go on to change her life forever. Bolivia eventually met a man. Let's call him Joe for the sake of this story. The connection between them was instant. They were young, full of life, and shared a lot in common. From the outside, their relationship seemed happy and genuine. Although much is not publicly known about Joe, what was clear was that he and Bolivia quickly fell for each other. They spent more and more time together, and as their bond deepened, their lives took a major turn. Bolivia found out she was pregnant. The news brought pure excitement. Both Bolivia and Joe were thrilled at the idea of becoming parents. They embraced the journey ahead with open hearts. For Bolivia, it was a dream come true. She looked forward to motherhood with joy and hope, especially with Joe by her side, as they prepared to build a future together. A few months later, the couple welcomed a beautiful baby boy. From the very beginning, it was as if motherhood came naturally to Bolivia. She embraced it with grace and warmth, seamlessly stepping into her new role. Her social media became a reflection of the joy she felt, filled with adorable photos and videos of her baby. Not long after, their family grew again with the arrival of a beautiful baby girl. Her presence brought even more love into the home, and Bolivia embraced motherhood with the same passion and tenderness she always had. But love alone wasn't enough to hold everything together. Slowly, cracks began to form beneath the surface. By 2018, Bolivia was a proud mother of 5 children, whose ages ranged from 16 to an 11-month-old toddler. While it's unclear whether Joe was the father of all the children, what was clear was that at some point, Bolivia and Joe's once loving relationship began to fall apart, and the two eventually went their separate ways. Despite the challenges she faced, Bolivia found new strength in the role that mattered most to her. Still, Bolivia never let heartbreak define her. She built her identity around motherhood. Her 5 children were the heartbeat of her life. Friends described her as a hands-on mom who never missed a school event, no matter how busy she was. She treated each of her children as individuals, nurturing their unique personalities with care and understanding. She documented every special moment. Supporting her every step of the way was her mother, Peggy Blanks. More than just a grandmother, Peggy was Bolivia's rock and trusted confidant. Their relationship wasn't just mother and daughter. It was a strong, unwavering partnership rooted in love and their shared devotion to raising Bolivia's kids. 3 times a week, Peggy would arrive with home-cooked meals and stay to help with the bedtime routines. During school breaks, she'd take the older children to her home, giving Bolivia the chance to rest and recharge. Their phone calls were a constant, multiple times a day, quick check-ins to stay connected amidst their busy lives. Neighbors often say that Bolivia had inherited her mother's strength, work ethic, and fierce protectiveness. Bolivia's days began at 5:30 a.m., preparing breakfast and lunches before waking her children for school. After the drop-offs, she would tackle household management, budgeting, appointments, and keeping their modest home running smoothly. She turned their backyard into a campsite for weekend adventures, organized homemade birthday celebrations with heartfelt touches, and hosted spontaneous dance parties in their living room.
With her friends and family.
Despite the challenges, she filled their home with laughter, love, and the kind of magic that money can't buy. That was until her path crossed with a man whom she thought was there to help her carry her burdens, but would soon become the heaviest one of all. In early 2023, Bolivia met 31-year-old Neji Devon Leach through mutual acquaintances at a community gathering. Neji appeared warm and thoughtful, always knowing the right thing to say, traits that immediately stood out to Bolivia, who rarely received personal attention amid the demands of raising 5 children. Neji often praised her dedication as a mother, telling her that her maternal instincts were one of the things that drew him in. For Bolivia, who didn't often hear praise for her parenting, this validation meant a lot. Within just 3 months, the two were officially a couple. It felt like the beginning of a beautiful new chapter. Neji gradually became a steady part of Bolivia's life. He started by getting to know her older children, easing into their routines before becoming a regular presence on weekends. He offered hands-on support, giving rides to the kids, helping with the groceries, and even pitching in financially when he could. To many, he seemed like a supportive and dependable figure, someone genuinely invested in Bolivia and her family's well-being. It wasn't long before the couple learned they were expecting a new addition to the family. Bolivia found out she was pregnant with Neji's child. At first, she felt overwhelmed. Adding a 6th child to an already full house meant even tighter finances, less space, and more responsibilities. But once the initial shock had settled, Bolivia met the moment with her usual strength and unwavering commitment to her family. Her children had mixed reactions. The youngest didn't quite understand what a new baby meant, while the older ones showed curiosity and even excitement, especially at the idea of helping out with a new baby brother. But Bolivia made sure to ease their worries with gentle reassurance. As her pregnancy moved into the 2nd trimester, Bolivia got to work preparing for the new arrival. She cleared out a corner of their small dining area, transforming it into a cozy makeshift nursery. From the outside, Bolivia and Neji seemed to share a practical partnership rooted in mutual benefit. He gave the support she deeply needed, while she brought him a sense of family and stability. However, beneath this arrangement was something even Bolivia wasn't prepared for. Neji's involvement in Bolivia's life quickly became inconsistent. Some weeks he was fully present, helping out around the house, checking in frequently, and playing the part of a supportive partner. Other weeks, he disappeared without explanation, leaving Bolivia to juggle everything alone. Bolivia, who had always been deeply invested in her relationships, gave it her all. Neji, on the other hand, kept his emotional distance. Friends began to notice changes in Bolivia. She was altering her appearance to suit his tastes, rearranging her schedule to be more available, and even pulling back some of her closest friendships. It was clear she was doing everything she could to make the relationship work. Little did Bolivia know, there was more to Neji's control. The relationship operated on his terms, with Bolivia often adjusting her behavior to avoid conflict and keep the support he offered her family. Neji showed intense jealousy over her interactions with men, even her children's teachers. He frequently checked her phone and questioned her whereabouts. He'd stir up conflict, shut down emotionally to punish her, then come back with over-the-top affection once she apologized, often for things that weren't her fault. But it wasn't just her who was suffering. His interactions with her children revealed deeper issues. He played favorites, setting different standards for each child, which led to growing tension at home. When upset with Bolivia, he sometimes withheld affection from the kids as well. Financial control crept in slowly. Neji began by covering bills, then used that support as leverage during arguments. Bolivia's isolation deepened as she skipped family events if Neji couldn't go, gradually cutting herself off from the very support system she needed most. On May 19, 2024, Bolivia and Neji hosted a gender reveal in her backyard, a small gathering of close friends and family. Blue confetti poppers burst in the air, and a cake with "It's a boy" and blue icing confirmed the baby's gender. Bolivia looked radiant in her photos, her hand resting protectively on her belly. She had already chosen a name, Isaiah James. Those who were there couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Neji's expression told a different story. While he smiled, it didn't reach his eyes. He stood slightly apart as loved ones embraced Bolivia. Guests noticed his distant behavior, minimal interaction, and constant glances at his phone. Bolivia took his quiet demeanor as nerves about fatherhood, but for Neji, the celebration marked a turning point. One where the pregnancy became undeniably real and the weight of performance began to sink in. After the celebration, Bolivia started discussing practical matters, adding Neji's name to the birth certificate and potential child support arrangements, but these conversations clashed with Neji's apparent preference to keep the relationship casual and undefined. But what happened next would set off a chain of events that no one could have imagined. June 4th began like any other day for Bolivia. She did school drop-offs at 7:30 a.m., attended a 10 a.m. prenatal appointment where she learned her baby boy was developing well, then she went grocery shopping. Phone records show 3 calls with Neji between 2:15 and 4:30 p.m. By 6 p.m., Bolivia had a home-cooked dinner ready. Her mother, Peggy, had taken the 2 youngest kids for the evening, leaving Bolivia with her 3 older children. Neighbors reported seeing Neji pull up around 7:15 p.m. in his black sedan. At 7:45 p.m., Bolivia's oldest child left to stay with a friend for a school project. The remaining 2 kids were watching TV in a back bedroom. At approximately 8:33 p.m., police responded to a 911 call from a frantic neighbor. "I just heard 4 or 5 gunshots from next door. It's the house with the blue shutters on Dixon Road." Just 3 minutes later, another call came in, this time from Bolivia's 12-year-old son. "Someone shot my mom. Please hurry, she's bleeding a lot." The dispatcher stayed on the line, guiding him to apply pressure to her wounds. The panic in the boy's voice led the dispatcher to upgrade the call to the highest priority. When deputies arrived at the scene, they made a heartbreaking discovery. Police arrived at the home at 8:41 p.m., followed by paramedics at 8:44 p.m. Inside the living room, they found 33-year-old pregnant Bolivia Williams suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to her chest and abdomen. Her 2 children, ages 12 and 10, were by her side following the dispatcher's instructions and doing their best to help. Paramedics worked quickly to stabilize Bolivia and most especially her baby, but when their efforts failed, they made the urgent decision to transport her to Columbus Regional Healthcare System. Despite every attempt to save her, both Bolivia and her unborn son were pronounced dead at 9:38 p.m. The 2 children were brought to the sheriff's office, where child specialists gently interviewed them while awaiting their grandmother. Their accounts revealed key details about the argument that unfolded before the shooting. Police quickly launched an investigation into the tragic incident, seeking answers at the crime scene. Investigators noted blood had soaked through the living room carpet and splattered across family photos on the wall. 5 9mm shell casings were also recovered, and the front door showed no signs of forced entry, indicating Bolivia likely knew her attacker. In the kitchen, 2 untouched dinner plates and partially filled glasses suggested the evening had started calmly. Bolivia's purse was emptied on the counter, with her wallet still containing cash but her car keys missing. A broken picture frame displaying a photo from the recent gender reveal lay shattered on the floor. But it was what the people next door revealed that surprised investigators. Neighbors provided crucial details during questioning. One neighbor reported hearing raised voices from inside the house at around 8:20 p.m., followed by multiple gunshots at 8:32. Another neighbor stated they saw Neji leave the house a few minutes after the gunshots, briefly return inside, and then leave again by 8:40, driving off in Bolivia's SUV. Armed with those first-hand accounts, investigators knew they had to move fast. Immediately, deputies secured the crime scene and issued a BOLO, or be on the lookout, for both Neji and Bolivia's stolen Subaru Forester. Investigators began canvassing the neighborhood, collecting doorbell camera footage that captured Neji's arrival and hasty departure. By midnight, a task force was formed to locate Neji. Surveillance was set up at his known residences, workplace, and frequent spots, while Border Patrol was notified to prevent him from fleeing the country. Meanwhile, after fleeing Bolivia's home, Neji's movements became erratic but intentional. Traffic cameras captured him running a red light at 8:43 p.m., just minutes after the shooting. He avoided main highways, opting instead for back roads through Columbus County. Gas station footage captured Neji at 9:17 purchasing a prepaid phone, water, and energy drinks, paying with cash to avoid traceable card transactions. The attendant later noted that Neji appeared calm but kept glancing outside the vehicle. By 10:30, cell tower data placed him roughly 45 miles from the crime scene, heading towards South Carolina. Ironically, Neji's bid to cover his tracks only handed investigators their most crucial lead. Neji made 3 calls from his original phone before discarding it in a roadside ditch. Investigators later recovered the phone using GPS data. Instead of continuing south, Neji unexpectedly doubled back toward Wilmington, North Carolina, suggesting he had a predetermined destination rather than fleeing randomly. This route change temporarily confused authorities, but Neji's decision to take Bolivia's gold 2006 Subaru Forester instead of his own vehicle revealed both opportunity and strategy. Investigators concluded that the car theft served 2 purposes. First, to provide transportation, and second, to make his own vehicle untraceable. Secondly, the Subaru contained practical resources, including emergency supplies that Bolivia kept for her children, such as a first aid kit, blankets, and non-perishable food. These provisions extended Neji's ability to avoid public stops. At some point during his escape, he removed the vehicle's license plate and replaced it with a temporary tag stolen from a dealership lot. But more telling than the swapped plates or stashed supplies was what remained on Bolivia's phone. This switch went unnoticed until after his capture, explaining how he avoided detection by automated plate readers. Inside the vehicle, investigators discovered Bolivia's phone, which Neji had used to delete text conversations between them before abandoning her phone in the center console. The SUV's GPS history revealed stops at an ATM, a discount store, and a remote wooded area where evidence was likely discarded. Neji's physical transformation began about 3 hours after the murder. Security footage from a 24-hour discount store showed him purchasing scissors, hair clippers, a baseball cap, and new clothes at 11:42 p.m. In the store's bathroom, Neji cut off his distinctive shoulder-length dreadlocks, which had been his signature style for years. He disposed of the hair in various trash cans throughout the store to prevent it from being found together. The store manager discovered the hair remnants during morning cleaning and contacted authorities after seeing news reports. This drastic change altered his appearance significantly. A comparison between his driver's license photo and post-haircut images revealed a dramatically different person. In addition to the haircut, Neji changed his usual clothing style, abandoning his preference for bright colors and brand-name items in favor of more nondescript attire. He also removed several recognizable gold chains and a watch that friends had associated with him. At 1:17 a.m. on June 5th, approximately 5 hours after the murder, Neji made his only public statement via a cryptic Facebook post. "You post to love me, but gone thug me." This message became a crucial piece of evidence regarding his mindset. The phrase suggested feelings of betrayal, indicating that Neji believed Bolivia had wronged him despite his feelings for her. The post drew immediate responses from friends who were still unaware of the tragic events that had unfolded. Some expressed concern, others confusion, with a few simply asking if Neji was okay. He didn't respond to any comments, but investigators confirmed he viewed the replies. His account remained active for several hours afterward. By dawn, the search for Neji had expanded, now involving multiple agencies, including the Bladen County Sheriff's Office, the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, and neighboring law enforcement departments. A command center was quickly established at the Bladen County Justice Complex to coordinate the growing flow of information. Highway patrol officers set up rolling checkpoints on key roads exiting the area, while investigators began reaching out to Neji's family members. Though none admitted to knowing his whereabouts, some shared useful information about places he might hide or people he might contact. His bank accounts were placed on alert for suspicious activity, though it became clear he was relying solely on cash. Media outlets aired his description repeatedly, especially noting his altered appearance without the dreadlocks. The public responded responded quickly, flooding hotlines with over 40 reported sightings. The medical examiner recovered bullet fragments during Bolivia's autopsy, confirming they were consistent with a 9mm caliber weapon, the same type used in the shooting. Forensic technicians restored deleted text messages from Bolivia's phone, revealing escalating arguments and increasingly hostile exchanges in the days leading up to her death. Wi-Fi data from her home router showed Naji's device had connected during specific timeframes, placing him at the residence. Meanwhile, a search of Naji's personal computer seized from his apartment uncovered an alarming browser history. He had looked up topics like how to disappear in counties without extradition, with searches dating back 2 weeks before the murder. It was a disturbing pattern, clear signs of premeditation. Despite Naji's efforts to change his appearance and evade capture, the breakthrough came through a combination of tech and classic police work. Around 5:30 a.m. on June 5th, a convenience store clerk in Brunswick County recognized Naji despite the haircut and clothing changes. Although the clerk waited until Naji left to contact police, they were able to provide key details, the direction he was headed, and confirmation that he was still driving Bolivia's gold Subaru. Around the same time, investigators uncovered that Naji had reached out to a former coworker, asking for a place to stay under the pretense of having relationship problems. The coworker grew suspicious after seeing news reports and immediately contacted authorities. Then the most crucial lead of all came in, one that would finally bring the manhunt closer to its end. At 11:23 a.m., Naji attempted to withdraw money from an ATM using his debit card, an electronic breadcrumb that pinpointed his location, and officers quickly tracked him to a Wilmington motel where he had checked in under his cousin's name. A coordinated plan was put in motion to ensure a safe arrest. At 3:15 p.m., tactical officers apprehended Naji as he returned to the motel room. He surrendered without incident, appearing worn down and defeated. A loaded 9mm handgun was recovered from Bolivia's stolen vehicle, the same firearm later confirmed through ballistic testing as the murder weapon. Naji remained silent during transport to Bladen County, invoking his right to legal counsel. Prosecutors swiftly filed multiple charges: first-degree murder, murder of an unborn child, felony discharge of a weapon into occupied property, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and motor vehicle theft. Given the severity of the crimes and his attempt to flee, a judge ordered Naji held without bond. On June 27, 2024, during his arraignment, the district attorney formally charged Naji Devon Leach with 6 felony counts, each carrying the possibility of life in prison or the death penalty. Beyond the charges of first-degree murder and murder of an unborn child, Naji also faced counts of possession of a firearm by a felon based on a 2019 conviction for assault, along with grand theft auto, felony discharge of a weapon into occupied property, and tampering with evidence. Each charge carried its own penalty, and together, the potential sentence exceeded multiple life terms. Prosecutors made it clear they would pursue every charge independently and would not entertain plea deals. They cited the premeditated nature of the crimes and Naji's extensive efforts to avoid arrest as justification. Under North Carolina law, specific aggravating factors can elevate a murder case to qualify for capital punishment. The district attorney listed 3. First, the murder was committed during the commission of another felony. Second, the victim was pregnant. And third, the crime displayed exceptional cruelty. A special hearing was set for August 2024 to decide whether prosecutors will officially seek the death penalty. Naji's defense team preemptively filed motions contesting the constitutionality of capital punishment, referencing previously undiagnosed mental health conditions. The outcome of that hearing will significantly affect the case's timeline. Capital cases typically take 3 times longer to resolve, prolonging justice and closure for Bolivia's grieving family. On Saturday, June 15th, at around 1 p.m., a funeral service was held for Bolivia at Central Baptist Church in Whiteville, North Carolina. It was a deeply emotional gathering as family, friends, and members of the community came together to honor her life and mourn her tragic passing. Bolivia's mother, Peggy Blanks, took on guardianship of all 5 of Bolivia's children, moving them into her small 2-bedroom home while actively searching for a larger space. In a show of solidarity, Regalwood residents held a candlelight vigil that drew more than 300 attendees. Local businesses also rallied behind the family, helping establish a trust fund that raised $47,000 in just 2 weeks. Peggy also launched a GoFundMe campaign to seek additional support for the children's ongoing care, funeral costs, and their future needs, ensuring Bolivia's kids have the stability and resources to move forward despite the loss of their beloved mother. Let me know what you think in the comments section below.